So the idea, in short, is that you don't want all of this to become just a bouillabaisse, but actually to have all the distinct voices merge and speak on the same narrative plane?
Correct.
I'm glad I watched that video. Cornelius, maybe you could tell us a bit about your process of working with Hafez, because he's known in part as a jazz composer, and I know that you've done things outside the classical music realm with your quartet. How comfortable were you with this, and have you been able to give him feedback on his ideas, and are you working together or just playing what he's giving you?
I would say, I mean, there's definitely a give and take here. It's a dialogue for sure. I mean, but, you know, Hafez has written very clearly what he wants, but some things are very difficult to express in notation, and those are the very subtle aspects of music making that really make it magical. And I think those are the things that we have had to really work closely with Hafez in dialogue, having conversations. Hafez has been coming to New York to work with us since February, and we've been here and we've been talking over these months. But you know, most recently, the last few days have been very intense, and so I would say that he's extremely clear about his notation, but there are some concepts that he's getting at that really need to be discussed in person. So,
can I add something to bring Amir back into, because we are, and Cornelius, now I have to say, these are two gentlemen that I'm very excited that keep me wanting to play, to continue making music, because it gets pretty lonely out there, you know, when you have these esoteric ideas, or they seem that way, you know, but you can't get rid of them.
right.
The three of us have our own experiences with Ornette Coleman, and he used to talk, he'd ask questions like, how can you free the idea? And I thought, that's a great, you know, thought there, right there, to free the idea. Sometimes an idea can, you know, just get a stranglehold, and these ideas, as you know, Charles, since, you know, the 90s, this is part of a continuum that I'm really happy to see, you know, Cornelius, and then Amir and I, we finished a CD recently on Pi Recordings, Radif Suite, where, I mean, Amir has taken the maqam, and first of all, steeped himself in the tradition, the Iraqi maqam, as not only as a trumpeter, but as a vocalist, and also on the santur. And so it really helped affirm very much the path when Amir came to my home, and we spent literally days that turned into weeks. Sometimes he'd fly out just for the weekend so that we could find the disintegration of all of tradition, but coming from tradition. Tradition is very important, but to find this language that could then go beyond the tradition, and something that other musicians could embrace without feeling the ethnos all the time hanging over their heads, you know? And we feel like we've really freed the idea. I mean, with Radif Suite, that just, you know, has propelled us into, hopefully, the next few years. Do you want to say anything about that this collaboration? Because we're right in the thick of it.
Yeah, well, I think you really hit on something important, because Hafez has, obviously, we both have jazz backgrounds in common, and Hafez has steeped himself over the last few decades in the Persian musical tradition, the Radif, and which is the counterpart to the Iraqi maqam. And these are two very much related traditions. You know, they're sort of dialects of the same musical language. So we had a lot in common, but somehow even just that coming from slightly different places opened up each of our musical palettes to sort of something, I don't know, something more universal. I think when you have one tradition and another, you sort of open yourself to something wider and more expansive. And I think that what we were able to do together, especially working with other musicians that don't have any Arabic or Persian or Iraqi or any similar musical background, the ideas can translate into something that's much more fundamental, going directly to the sound and going directly to how these sounds resonate with us as humans, and maybe something that even taps into our common ancestry, so that at that level, it's not so much about like, okay, where were you born, or where were your parents born, but it's more taking us back to a much older source that's really common to all of us, and I think it opens up the potential for a musical language that can be spontaneous and free, and free of the constraints of any cultural or particular rigidity or confines. So.